So today we have the pleasure of being joined by both Annie Hornlin and Leah Oliveri. Annie has been a solutions architect here at Bonterra since 2022. Before she entered CSR software, she worked in financial technology, payroll, banking, and cancer research commercialization. Annie lives in Minneapolis with her wife Abby and their 2-year-old Lucy. And Leah manages a team of solutions architects and has over a decade of experience supporting CSR software programs for enterprise and Fortune 500 companies across a variety of industries. Leah enjoys building relationships with her clients through the sales to onboarding journey and strives to scope and implement best practices to build lasting, scalable partnerships. So, with that, I will pass it to our speakers today. Annie, I will pass it to you to get us kicked off here.
Wow, Leah, your intro script sounds way more compelling than mine does. So I feel like I need to make some changes. Anyway, I have a 2-year-old. That's my intro. So hey, yeah, welcome. It's so nice to meet all of you. I am really excited about this one. It's something that we talk about ad nauseum all the time. So hoping it is helpful for you guys to hear our lovely opinions on this situation. But today's focus, we are going to be talking about the state of the state. So what's happening? Why are things going wrong? What's going wrong? What's the general feeling on this? Then we're going to talk through like barriers that are encountered by employees. So what's our pain? What's the problem? What's causing these things? And then 3, what can we do to actually overcome those things? What are some actual things that we can start to change to make this better? Ooh, pardon. All right, so employees are not taking advantage of your programs. Why is this? There could be a lot of reasons. That's exactly why we're here today. We're going to crack into it. So at Bonterra, we have this truly epic vision. So we've done a lot of thinking about exactly why things aren't going as we think they should be, considering that people love altruism. Altruism is like, that's why most of us are in this industry. We really want to do more and do better and really help uplift everyone where we can. As CSR professionals, it usually comes down to, yes, we would like to uplift everyone within our focus areas. And then also it comes to that also like, hey, there's a lot of considerations here. And also we have to consider probably hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, different kinds of employees. That's so many different kinds of people who have different preferences, ways of interacting. Like there's just so much to unpack there, right? And most of the time our CSR teams are 1 person, 2 people. It's more rare than not that we see that they're an actual team of people that's greater than like 4 or 5. Like it's pretty infrequent. So how is this 1 or 2 person team conquering this? So we generally believe that the root cause on a very grand level in why folks are not giving the amount that we think they would or could be is because of something we're calling missed connections. So over here on the left side of your screens, you'll see roughly a third of employees feel like they don't want to or can't or won't give because they don't feel connected to what's available to them. They feel a little bit like, yeah, our company gives to United Way. I care about animals, so and what? And we see that a fifth of Gen Z and millennials don't feel like they have any impact on this. They feel like they're just a cog in the machine. Like, yeah, their company gives to United Way, but like they don't feel like they have any influence on those decisions. They feel very powerless. So you're missing out on engagement. You're missing out on capturing passion. You're missing out on ultimately participation, giving, volunteering, and matching. So what we're seeing over here is that as a result of these general feelings of lack of connectivity, of feeling trapped, feeling confined, feeling like not like you're being empowered, it's resulting in 4 to 7 billion with a B matching funds going unclaimed each year. That's insane. On that note, we do know that some organizations overinflate their match budgets. That is a common tactic. Nonetheless, though, that's still a huge number, and you at your organizations probably see that too. There's a gigantic delta between what's actually being matched and what you're capable of matching. And then you have these funds on the table that in a lot of cases, you guys aren't allowed to reallocate. It's use it or lose it. So you're just kind of like, cool, I want more people to engage in our programs because if we don't use this XYZ budget, we just don't get to use it. Finance takes it back, gets reapplied to other business units, and it disappears. So we're seeing that all that's left on the table. And we're also saying that your nonprofit partners are missing out. That's a lot of money that they could be getting. We're specifically talking about giving matching in here, but also volunteerism. All of that is missing now. They have, wherever the breakdown happened, they're now getting less impactful engagement than they could be, which is making them more resource poor and forcing them to do with what they have without optimistic views of what they could be getting. So that's the big like the feedback loop, the big picture. And I didn't include the slide, but essentially just so you guys know, that is the background state. There are a lot of things that as a software solution we are working towards to continuously bridge those gaps from a structural level within software and how it interconnects and empowers all of the various users. So nonprofit users, employee users, your CSR teams. We want everyone to feel empowered. We want everyone to have a feedback loop of information. We want that information to be shared freely, be accurate, standardized, so that it increases trust in giving, makes it easy for people to interact, makes it easy for people to want to and to find and claim those relationships. But that's really big picture. And today what we're here to talk about is tactics. And what I mean by tactics is that sounds like hopes and dreams right now. You guys have CSR teams and you need things you can do that are material, that are not hopes and dreams. And so that's what we're talking about today. So here's what our other CSR clients are saying when they come to us with issues. We hear, hey, our current platform isn't very user-friendly. We're finding that we're getting a lot of drop-off because people don't know where to go, they don't know how to use it, they don't know what to do, they don't even know how to get on the platform. Like, it's just not user-friendly. Then we're hearing, hey, our employees aren't donating because we found out they want to donate to pet shelters, but we don't let them. They can only give to United Way. Or there are concerns with vetting or funding ineligible organizations. There's just essentially people get a little nervous, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to pass money over to an organization that is defrauding its donors. We know that does happen. Nonprofits, unfortunately, do have a history of that occurring with them. So how do you prevent that? How do you get rid of that nervousness and just feel more comfortable with opening that up? And it comes down to vetting. And then a lot of people just really don't know how to get their employees excited. They're just kind of like, we have all these great programs, we have all of the foundational elements of great programs, and people just aren't using them, and we don't know why. And then also we find too that a lot of times people are working with inadequate reporting tools that are essentially giving them only part of the story, or they're not fully utilizing a good reporting tool and they're only getting part of the story. But either way, they're left with some like kind of insufficient data points that only tell part of it, such as like a lot of people will tell us they have a really good read on how many dollars are given, but they don't know to where, or they don't know the why, or they don't have any trend data. Like, so there's a lot of missing gaps that could be captured and could help form your strategy, your story, etc. And then finally, we get a lot of questions about industry benchmarking. What are other health companies doing in this sector? Do other banks also have the same match threshold we do? Is everyone else doing Giving Tuesday, but we're not? We get those questions quite a bit. And so those are just kind of like the background questions we're hearing from our other clients. There's, I'm sure, a laundry list more we could go to, but those are some of the more frequent ones. I'd ask you if you guys have any particular concerns or like feelings about your own issues right now, put them in the chat. Like, what's going on? What do you guys currently struggle with? I'd love to know. If you don't feel like sharing it now, you can also save that for the Q&A and we can discuss. So simply put, here's our condensed list of barriers to engagement. As I just said before, I'm sure there are many more we could discuss, but here are the primary we'll be focusing on today. One is simply awareness of program existence at all. You need to make sure people know they can give via the portal, that they can get a match, that you guys have volunteer events they can go sign up for. Sometimes you have to do the creative work for them and tell them, like, hey, I'm gonna smack you with this information, here it is. Or you have to, again, get a little creative and be like, this means this. Like, you could go volunteer with your team as a team building activity, as opposed to you as your lonesome self can go to like a soup kitchen and serve soup for a morning. Like, you have to kind of inject the stories into the opportunity, into the advertising of your platform. And then another one we see is, how and when do you use various programs? When is it appropriate for your company to have XYZ program? When is it maybe not the most sensible investment for you guys? Another one we see is hard to use websites, forms, that sort of thing. It's just not easy or intuitive, and there you get drop off. And then the final one is restrictive program rules. I want to donate to my church because I live in a rural community, but my organization doesn't allow any donations to get funneled through churches. We don't have any nonprofits in town and I want to give locally, then what? So these are just generally the barriers that we see. The next one, here's what that actually means, right? Hey, we have match programs? Since when do we have match programs? I haven't heard of that. Did you know about that? And then the next one is, okay, listen, I know we have a match program, but I have no idea how to use it. Like, where do I go? What do I do? What do I need? And then it's just overwhelmed. Or related, but different, I'm on the website. What do I click? Where do I go? What do I do? And then finally, all right, okay, I know where to go. I know what to do, but now I cannot find the organization I gave to and I want to request my match for. Now what? So those are kind of just the human translations of those issues we just covered, but I think the context of humanizing these experiences is very important. Otherwise, you think, hey, we don't get engagement, but you're not thinking about the human stories behind maybe why you're not getting engagement. Important at the end of the day to remember that your employees are all people, and people have shortcomings, and sometimes the amount of effort required to get them to use something is greater than they're willing to commit. And that's just a sad and simple truth. So making it easy for them is absolutely imperative to having a successful solution. So what can you do? Well, Leah is going to talk about that.
Hey everyone, thank you, Annie. So, and I noticed in the chat there was just message around allowing all organizations or causes, but still having low participation rate. We do see that as well. So there's some things that I'm going to talk through here that we've seen work really well with a lot of the clients that we support today here at Bonterra. So there are different tactics that can boost some of the use of those matching funds. Again, trying not to leave the funds on the table or just other ways that you might be able to get your employees engaged in actually accessing the platform. The first one we have here is having what we call a global match balance, which aligns all match type programs under a single annual match limit. So employees are clear on how much money the company or their company will match towards their donations or their hours towards like a volunteer grant. Having separate match buckets, we've seen where you're funding the different programs separately might limit employees in a way because they might not be able to donate hours or donate dollars, and now they're losing out on those funds. So for example, if there's $1,000 annual donation match and a separate 500 volunteer grant match, employees who might not be able to offer up their time are going to lose out on allocating that $500 company match. So those are now funds that you're leaving on the table because they couldn't participate that way. So instead, having a global limit across all programs is going to allow employees to continue making donations and use up that, in this case, $15,000 in matching that they're getting per year. Also, Annie talked about this a little bit earlier, but reducing those thresholds to qualify for program participation in those giving and volunteer incentive programs like a Dollars for Doers, that can really enable employees who might not be able to volunteer the minimum 40 hours that you require to get the match or donate that minimum $50, but can contribute smaller amounts throughout the year so they still feel like they can participate in the program, that they're not being limited from doing that so they never access it to ever see what else is available. Typically, we recommend a minimum donation of $1 or 1 hour to be eligible for that company match. All of our clients are very different, but going down lower in that, you'll see has really improved some of the participation rates with some of our clients. And we also offer our Bonterra disbursements model, which can bulk process all of those donations and the company donations in one. So the organization where they might have been getting $1 here, $1 there is really frustrating. Now our solution can actually bulk process one payment to them. So allowing that reduced amount is actually a great way to do it because we can streamline that process. Then we have a really big one that I think a lot of our clients sometimes miss and don't really know how, but internal communications is huge. You know, we also have our own platform, and if we don't continue to internally communicate that that platform is available to our employees, they just forget about it. So being able to do mobile push texts, email announcements, newsletters, it's really important that you promote the awareness and excitement around the programs you offer so that your employees are knowing about it and they're excited to want to participate. And maybe then they even encourage other employees as well. And that's just getting more of that participation in. And then again, making these more of an ongoing announcement versus a one-time thing. In addition to that, that next bullet, meeting your employees where they are, can help drive that engagement as well. So some of our clients today have some really great communication efforts. Like we had one client build an entire campaign around the launch of their portal. And it was a full event open to all employees to attend and learn more about what the programs were that they were being offered. We also have other clients that post announcements, goals, and participation rates within screens in each of their break rooms. So employees are reminded when they go in there, they can see what other coworkers have been doing, really great stories about volunteerism, and hopefully that's encouraging them to want to also get involved. And then we also, through vetting organizations in a simplified disbursements process, that can even streamline it further. So again, trying to make it not just easy for your employees to want to come in and donate, but also to show them the status of their donations immediately. So by going through the solution here, Bonterra will vet all of those organizations, make sure that they are eligible. So when your employees are coming in, they are only seeing those that are eligible. And that can be a wide range. We have different integrations with different databases. And then managing those payments for you means an automated process that takes effort and liability off of our clients, but it also means that employees are seeing that in the site, the status changes, that the payments are going out the door and on a schedule. So they know if they donate in 1 month, their payment will go out the next month. And again, that's something that's really important, that visibility, not just to our clients, but to our employees as well, because they want to know that their funds are getting to where they want them to go. And then by donating through the platform, they don't have to worry if the organization is eligible for that match. You can set up those rules, but again, allowing the organizations to be selected that are eligible for the match, it's again going to get those funds out the door and not left on the table. And then through our disbursements solution, we can also offer credit cards. So it's another great way for employees to feel like I don't have to go to a different site. I can do everything in one place. Now that I'm in there, I can donate via credit card or set up reoccurring donations that are then going to be automatically matched. So again, taking some of the effort off of the employee to do extra steps to donate and then request a match, we've seen has really improved participation rates because they're excited. They don't have to do all this work. They can come in, click a button, submit their donation, and they know that it's going to get a match up to what their balance is for the year. And then the last one we have here is obviously providing FAQ pages, user guides, including program information wherever you can within the portal, is going to help your employees learn more about the programs on their time. So again, where you're communicating to them, you don't want it to be too much information, but you do want to provide them with the details they need to understand what is eligible for a match, when can they suggest other organizations be added to the database, like their local animal shelter, all those different rules. And by providing those user guides, they can then self-train them to go in. They can help other coworkers, again, trying to more or less make everybody help each other so that they feel excited about coming into a place where they can log their hours, request grants, submit for volunteer grants and donation matches. I'm going to switch to the next screen. Perfect. And then other ways that we've also seen this, and these are actually some of the trends that we've seen from our clients, to boost that participation so dollars aren't left on the table is offering different types of programs. So you have your traditional giving and volunteer grant program, but we've also seen what we call a charitable spending account program is a really great way to maybe just invite new employees to that are coming to the company by offering them a small donation amount like $25 to be able to allocate to an organization of their choice. So welcoming them as a new hire, but then also saying, hey, get into the platform, go see what else is out there. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is choose the organization that you really care about, give them that $25 or whatever the amount is, and then they can say, oh, I didn't realize we had a volunteerism program, or I didn't know there was a grant for that. That's really awesome. I'm now going to explore more. And then that, because they don't have to donate first, it just makes it really exciting for them to say, oh, this is a great company offer. And then we also have some clients that might use this type of program as a recognition program. So it doesn't have to be everyone gets a certain dollar amount, maybe during the end of the year for the holidays. That's how you want to give to your employees. It could be something that throughout the year, employees are doing really amazing things. And instead of, company trinkets and things like that, you want to give them money to donate to an organization. That is another really great way of doing this. And we have a lot of clients that use this as a recognition program today. And employees love it. They love to be able to kind of build up, I'm doing a really great thing, or I had this really great sale, or I got promoted, I got this certain amount, and I'm again going into the system to allocate and then seeing what else is out there. And then that Dollars for Doers volunteer grant that I've been talking about. So for those who may not be able to donate dollars but can give their time, Dollars for Doers program is a really great way to match employee participation hours. So by incentivizing them with a match for their time to the organizations that they care about, they volunteer with, they love, you're going to see more employees accessing the portal to log that time, especially if there's going to be that incentive, that match at the end. So instead of asking their coworkers to donate, money to the charity, maybe they can invite them to log their time for that match. And so now you have more employees accessing the program, more matching funds are being distributed, not just through a giving program, but through a volunteer program as well. And in addition to that, you can create different types of programs like fundraisers. So if you have employees that are really excited about walks, runs, different participation things that they're doing, that they would love to now have in that same portal, you're coming to the same place, employees can see what other employees are doing, and then they can participate with them. So maybe they're not really sure if they want to donate to an organization or if they want to volunteer, but my coworker, I really care about them. I want to be able to give a donation towards the fundraiser that they're doing. Again, another great way if you're going to match those donations to have that come into the system and disperse those funds. And then we've seen recently too, what we call employee nominated grants. So again, another situation where you're not asking employees to donate money or time, but you are trying to get your company funds to nonprofit organizations. You can allow employees to come in and say, I, really love my local animal shelter. I want to be able to nominate them for a grant. They have an event coming up or whatever the situation is. In that case, those can then be reviewed and determined, yep, this organization meets our eligibility requirements. We'll be able to now grant them out funds. And now your employees are going to be able to see that it's not just them giving or you're matching their donations. You're now matching to organizations that they care about. So just really different ways to make sure that we are focusing on the employee, what causes they care about, what organizations they care about, and where we're meeting them there. You'll see more participation. And that's what we've seen from some of our clients today. Let's switch to the next slide.
Yeah, my bad. I was like, wait a second. I think we did the last one. Cool. All right.
Wonderful. And then this is just some of our customers. We don't have names here, but we have some customers that have done some of these things already. A few of them, and many of them actually, have come to us and maybe has started with wanting to do a full United Way campaign, for instance. So it was more of a closed campaign. It was only open to certain organizations, United Way organizations. It was only allowing employees to come in during a enrollment window towards the fall. They came in, they made their pledges, and it was closed, and they couldn't really do anything after that. What they were missing out on was any new hires couldn't come in and do it because maybe they didn't get in time. If people needed to make changes due to, things where unforeseen situations where they couldn't make the donation anymore, or maybe they couldn't at the beginning but now can, they were really losing out on a lot of that participation. So we had quite a few clients move from that closed kind of campaign to an open one, meaning they allowed all, a bunch of 501c3 nonprofit organizations or other organizations that they wanted. They also allowed it to be open year round. So as an employee, I could come in, I could make a credit card donation in May, I could make one in June, in December, when I was able to do it. And so we saw a jump in participation there because it was when they were able to do it, again, around that communication and making sure that we're promoting it throughout the year. We also had some major banks have strong drives towards our annual giving campaign, which is a Giving Tuesday initiative. This is not just towards banks. A lot of our clients on the Bonterra portal, Giving Tuesday is a major day. It's one of the biggest days that we have here. We all hands in on this day because we know the amount of participation that's going to happen. It's one day towards the end of December or beginning of December where people come in and they are giving donations, and a lot of our clients might even up their match at that point. So it might be 1-to-1. I give $25, my company gives $25 throughout the year, but on this day I give $25, now my company's giving 50, or they're doing a 3-to-1 match. So it's a really exciting day. A lot of our banking clients will promote this year round. They get everybody really excited about it. There's a launch communication first thing in the morning, and they get everybody in the system. So again, trying to build that excitement for your employees, because we know a lot of them do want to donate or volunteer. It's just a matter of reminding them that there are tools that they're being given through the company, and that the company also does that match. And then we do have a lot of other clients that we work with all the time around maybe revamping how their portal is set up. Some clients have an idea, they come in with us, we implement them, and they decide how they want the pages and programs to work. A year down the road, 2 years down the road, they're just feeling like they're not getting the participation that they really hoped for. We are here. We're happy to work with our clients and find out what other clients are doing and saying, hey, maybe there's too many clicks. Maybe there's too many words on this page. You're only allowing a minimum of $100 before somebody can participate. Do we need to consider changes to that? So we work really closely with our clients to make sure that we are constantly revamping things to make sure that they are getting the most out of not just the product, but allowing their employees to be able to come in and participate. So we recommend building programs also around what your employees are looking for. We have some clients that might submit surveys to their employees and say, hey, are you interested in different types of programs? Like, what are we missing? What would actually get you into the system? They're asking you for, sponsoring 5Ks or doing something. Maybe you need a fundraising program that you're not offering today. And so you continue to iterate on those things based on that. And I think one of our really great tools is Insights. Our reporting tool can help you see those trends, see what your employees are interested in from the cause perspective, from your organizations that are listed in there. Where are they participating most? Is it at the beginning of the year, middle of the year? Why? Did we launch a campaign? Did we feature specific organizations? Did we have a really great event? And all of those insights can really help you determine, what's our next step? Where should we put that focus? Annie, anything else that you wanted to add to that?
No, I wanted to point out because we on these two things we have both hey, open up your campaigns, but also still do campaigns. And I just want to point out the slight the difference between those things. We have clients that only had campaigns and no other method of giving. If you didn't give from November 5th to November 16th, you were squat out of luck. That sucks for you. The site's closed. And that's kind of what we mean about opening it up, right? Because if they only have that window, hey, what if I'm on maternity leave? Or what if I don't know, my work just picked up and I was too busy to go on the site. I forgot about it because I had to deprioritize it. That's what we mean there. And that's what the concept of opening it up, both in terms of year-round timeline and also in opening up to a larger number of charities or causes or that sort of thing. And the difference between that and a Giving Tuesday initiative is just Giving Tuesday allows you to have a central anchor point on which to do a marketing push. It's something you can build excitement about. So you can still have campaigns that still drive and boost participation. I think that they're just a nice accessory to have on top of a foundational year-round giving program. And I think that's the important qualifier there. On that note too, Giving Tuesday is amazing. We do see a huge spike in giving on Giving Tuesday, but I do want to point out too, two things. That insights tool that Leo was talking about that has like beautiful, gorgeous reporting. It also can show you where your employees are that are giving. So you can see a map that says, hey, the majority of our employees who are giving are in the state of Minnesota, which I say because I live here and I'm biased. But we're like, oh, cool. Like, I didn't expect that. I thought that our headquarters state of New York would be our highest level of giving. That's funny. So maybe we should look into that. Like, how do we amplify Minnesota further? What are we missing in New York? So it's like using your data to be able to do that kind of thing. But specifically on the note of Giving Tuesday, I might say, hey, I see a huge number of our Minnesota employees giving. What's going on? And then I might research it a little bit and I find out that, hey, Minnesota has its own version of Giving Tuesday, which is true, by the way. So we have our own Giving Back Day. A lot of states do, sometimes even local areas do, and employees love giving back locally. They care way more about giving locally than they do to the, like, generically the United States Red Cross, or sorry, Red Cross of the, I can't remember the name of the organization. Wow. Sorry, brain leaving my body to national or international conglomerate organizations. They care more about giving to local chapters. That was my point. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Did you come off mute just to laugh at me, Ashley?
A little bit.
That's
No,
I
but that was great.
I respect you, and you should make fun of me. Okay, hold on, let me go over here. So hold on the phone here, guys. So these are just a couple of like actual client examples that we have received permission to share from these clients. So on the note of giving locally, 3M opened up a program called Hometown Donations. So each 3M site, so 3M, if you're unfamiliar, makes post-it notes, many adhesive products, some housing sorts of products, like I think Tyvek is a product of theirs, if I remember correctly, Band-Aids, they have a lot of stuff they make. It's pretty crazy. But they have manufacturing sites, they have office locations, they have a lot of different varieties and types of locations. So what they did is they gave each of those different location varieties their own budget for the year. And the site leaders at those locations are allowed to request a minimum $1,000 gift up to the annual budget allocated to each site. So this essentially was a customization where we developed it to provide the site lead with the budget information and make it really easy for them to use and access and actually like spend that money. And then they had like an open date for it. So as you can see here, it says the submission is March 1st through September 31st. So it is a close date campaign, but think of how wide that is. It makes it way more accessible and doable. And also, they have a situation where they require the organization to provide certain follow-up information before receiving that gift. So lots going on here, but it's really cool because 3M came up with, they were like, hey, we do have restrictions, but let's try to make this as open as possible. Let's try to meet people where they're at. We know that these sites are people that care about their local communities. We are a global organization. How can, I don't know how, from the top of my head, how many people are CSR team, but let's just say 5. How do 5 people cover every single location in which we have a site and make it localized? The answer is you don't. You empower your local employees to do it for themselves. And that's what the story really represents. Leah, did you have anything to add on this one?
Nope, perfect.
All right. Sweet. And the next one is Schneider Electric. So Leah already teased this one. So they, the lovely Schneider Electric, came up with a campaign to give new hires a $25 charitable spending account amount. So essentially what they said is, hey, welcome to Schneider Electric. Here's your $25. We just want you to go into the site and you give it away. Give it away whoever you want to. And it's an excellent program for exactly the reason that Leah mentioned. It says, we just want you to do this, to exercise that muscle, to know it's there. You go through the sequence. Now, when you want to engage with our other programs, you know where it is, you know how to access these things, you've done it, and you feel cool because you feel connected. You already gave. You did something good. Your company enabled you to do something good. You feel warm fuzzies about your company. So that's kind of the nice. I also, just a quick plug for charitable spending accounts, love charitable spending accounts. They are highly flexible. There's a ton of really cool applications they have. The new hire is just one. Leah talked about rewards. I have several companies now, which was greatly surprising to me, but very cool, using them for bereavement programs. The whole in lieu of flowers, donate to charity, they support that via Bonterra. They actually say, hey, here's your XYZ dollar amount. You can choose where it goes in memoriam of whoever. Lots of cool uses for those. Those are about three, but an interesting consideration to make. Another fourth one I was thinking about actually while Leah was talking, if you have flexibility with your match balance budget and your company doesn't just steal it right back from you, they go, oh, well, we didn't use that. What now? Like some people, we have some clients that turn around and use it for granting. You could also turn around and plug it into a CSA account. What's left over from 2024 after the year ends? Cool, divide that by all of our employees, let them go in and give. Make a big stink about it so people get really excited to use it. You put the power back in their hands, make them excited, drive them back into the site.
I've
So
seen
yeah.
that too, just to jump in here. I've seen that too with a client who does that around who did the most log the most hours or
Oh yeah. Mhm.
yeah, the team that did the most, volunteering or whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be across everybody. It could be like, hey, this is another great thing that at the end of the year we're going to check if we have any funds left. You're going to get another chance to donate to your organization.
Mhm. Yeah. So lots of cool uses. Just got to get creative sometimes. But I think at the end of the day, it's just thinking about like who isn't logging on? Why aren't they using our programs? What do they actually care about? And sometimes that really just comes down to digging in a little bit. Like Leah brought up surveys. Like I do highly recommend surveys. I also recommend just like doing focus group interviews. Like I think talking to people or getting their direct feedback is truly the most powerful thing you can do to understand why your programs aren't working. And I know easier said than done for some people, but worth looking into, honestly. You could partner with HR on things like that typically because HR knows how to run those surveys and typically has access to the kind of programs needed for that. Can also obviously run through surveys through our tool, but if they're not going into our tool, not very helpful to run a survey via our tool. Just throwing that out there. All right. So that brings us to our lovely recap. So just to go over what we talked about today, there's a lot of misconnections that are happening, and it's largely due to employees feeling restricted, unempowered. They feel like they don't have any say in how these programs are being run. Essentially, like there's a lot of barriers to their engagement, and sometimes it's as simple as feeling like they're not part of the bigger picture. And sometimes it's they didn't have time to donate during your campaign or they didn't find the charity they want. But it's just leading to this bigger problem of match dollars being left on the table or engagement, all that sort of stuff. So it comes down to second point here. Employees just aren't always aware. They don't always know. So sometimes you just have to blast them with information. I wouldn't be afraid about being redundant. I would err on the side of being redundant. Get your information out there, make it simple, be succinct, really make it easy for them to find, learn about, access, and engage with your programs. Ease is really the name of the game here. And then, plug for us. We're cool. We like our software. We're doing a lot of cool things in the future. Those hopes and dreams I talked about earlier. But right now, if you want to talk to us about your specific programs, please do. We would love to hear what's going on with you guys. As another quick plug, we do also offer consulting services ad hoc. If you want to talk about your greater picture of CSR, like it might not even be that you use our solution, you just want to talk CSR, or you do use our solution and you want to figure out how to structure a brand new grants program. Like there's a lot of things to talk about, but we're happy to be resources for you guys. So thank you. That was what I had today. So let's open it up for Q&A.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Annie and Leah, for the presentation. Lots of really great points. And Diana mentioned in the chat, I'm not sure if you had the chance to see it, Annie, that Diana said that I think it comes down to researching and understand what drives the employees, what are their passions, creating a strategy to tap into it, and kind of to both of your points, really trying to make sure that you understand what your employees are really interested in. How can we tap into that? How can we engage them via what they're interested in? So lots of great information, lots of great takeaways from today's session, folks. But yeah, just want to say that if you are interested in kind of learning more about Bonterra's strategic philanthropy tool, how we can help you kind of maximize on your employees, get them excited to participate with some of the ease of our tool. I want to launch another quick poll here. Again, feel free to fill that out. And we will have one of our colleagues reach out to you after today's session. And feel free to fill this out if you do just have a question that you think even might just be better suited for kind of a one-on-one conversation. I'm happy to engage that way as well. But while we wait for folks to drop in some questions, if they have any, and if there's not, that's okay. I take no questions as a sign of a fabulous presentation. It means there was no room for uncertainty. Everything was nice and clear and clear.
We are so thorough.
Exactly. I know I have no questions. It was all clearly laid out.
Well, if you guys do have questions that you think of later, as often happens because we are all simply people, you can also access us at any time if you want to reach out to us. I've encouraged people in past webinars to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you would like to do so, you're more than welcome to. Happy to field questions there as well.
Awesome. Thanks for opening up your DMs, Annie.
Did you say opening up my dams?
I said DMs.
Open the floodgates.
Oh my goodness. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions trickling in, but again, feel free to reach out if they come to you afterwards. We're happy to answer any that come through. But folks, just as another reminder, we did record today's session, so we will be sending that out. Be on the lookout for that. And thank you for your time and your engagement in the chat and Q&A. We really appreciate it. Always makes for a great session. And we hope to see you at our next one. So with that, if there aren't any questions for right now, we'll go ahead and close out today's session. Again, thank you all so much for your time. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon or morning, again, depending on where you are. Awesome. Bye, everyone.